Bisma wears a black bikini, sits down on the grass in a park in front of her boyfriend, and starts flirting with him. The park isn't crowded, but there are people watching them. After a few minutes, her boyfriend stands up and walks away, leaving her alone. Her face shows surprise and hurt. She stands up, tears fall from her eyes, and she runs after her boyfriend. When she catches up with him, she hugs his waist and begs for forgiveness, but he pushes her away. She falls to the ground and gets back up. Tears keep falling down her cheeks. The boyfriend walks away again and leaves her standing there alone. After a while, she decides to go home and tries to find her way out of the park. But she can't figure out how to get out. She asks some people who are walking around, but they don't know either. Suddenly, she hears voices coming from behind her. When she turns around, she sees two men arguing. One of the men has his hand over the other man's mouth, trying to silence him. They both look like thugs. Bisma realizes that the second man is the boyfriend she ran away from. The first man looks at her and then at the boyfriend. He smiles and takes his hand off the boyfriend's mouth. The boyfriend looks relieved. The first man says something to the boyfriend, who nods. Then the first man looks at Bisma again. This time, he seems unsure about what to do. He glances at the boyfriend again, who nods once more. So, the first man steps forward and slaps Bisma hard across the cheek. Bisma falls to the ground, crying loudly. The first man helps her up and grabs her arm, pulling her along. He takes her into a nearby building, and they walk down a hallway until they reach an empty room. The first man sits down on a couch in the corner of the room. He waves Bisma over, so she comes closer. She sits down next to him and looks up at him, confused and afraid. He pats her knee gently. "Don't worry," he says softly. "Everything will be fine." But it isn't fine. It never will be. He was Hussain and he undoes his belt and starts taking off his pants. "Come here," he says to Bisma. She hesitates for a moment, then does as he says. She moves closer to him and lies down on the floor, facing him. He lifts her legs onto his lap and strokes them slowly. She closes her eyes and tries to block out what's happening. Then he slides his hand under her bikini bottoms and touches her private parts. She opens her eyes wide and stares at him in shock. He smiles. "It's okay, baby," he whispers. "I won't hurt you." She shakes her head in denial. "No, I won't," he insists. "Just relax and let me take care of you." And that's exactly what he does. He takes care of her in the most horrendous way imaginable. He strips her naked and licks her body all over. Then he sucks on her nipples, one after the other. Finally, he gets on top of her and begins to rub himself against her, making her wetter than she already is. She tries to push him away, but he is too strong. So, instead of fighting him, she pretends to give in and lets him do whatever he wants to her. After a while, he stops and pulls his cock out of his pants. His penis is huge and erect. She can see the veins popping out. Subscribe for the next part. Don't forget to like, share and comment on the video if you want to listen to the next part of the story. Stay tuned for the next episodes.